The dust hung in the air like a curse as Marcus rode into the valley, his horse's hooves pounding the dry earth with the weight of inevitability. He had done this a dozen times before ride in, deliver the notice, watch families crumble as they realized their land now belonged to someone else. It was business, nothing more. The bank sent him because he never wavered, never flinched. He was efficient, cold when he needed to be, and by sunset, he would own another piece of someone's broken dream. The farmhouse stood weathered and small against the endless sky, its white paint peeling like old skin. Marcus had read the file. Thomas Brennan, widower, 2 years behind on payments, 1 daughter. The land was good, worth 3 times what the old man owed. It would sell quickly. Marcus tied his horse to the fence post and approached the porch, his boots heavy on the wooden steps. The door opened before he could knock. She stood there, younger than he expected, maybe 22, with dirt under her fingernails and exhaustion carved into her face. Her eyes met his without fear, only a deep, aching sadness that made something inside him shift uncomfortably. "You're here for the land," she said quietly. It wasn't a question. Marcus nodded, pulling the papers from his coat. "I'm sorry, miss. Your father has 3 days to vacate." She didn't reach for the documents. Instead, she glanced over her shoulder toward the dim interior of the house, where an old man's coughing rattled like stones in a tin can. When she looked back at Marcus, her expression had changed, hardened with a desperate kind of resolve. "He's dying," she whispered, stepping onto the porch and closing the door behind her. "The doctor says maybe 2 months, probably less. This land is all he has left. He built this house with my mother. She's buried on that hill." Her voice cracked but didn't break. "Taking it now will kill him faster than any sickness." Marcus had heard every story, every plea. He trained himself not to listen, not to see the people behind the paperwork. But something about the way she stood there, trembling yet unflinching, made the words stick in his throat. "I don't have the authority to take me instead," she said suddenly, her voice barely audible. "I'll work for you, whatever you need. Cook, clean, tend your horses. Just spare him. Let him die on his own land, in his own bed. Please." The word hung between them like a prayer. Marcus stared at her, this girl offering herself as payment for her father's peace, and felt the careful walls he built around his heart begin to crack. He thought of his own father, dead 10 years now, and how Marcus had been hundreds of miles away chasing money when the old man took his last breath. He thought of all the families he'd displaced, all the lives he'd treated as transactions. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice rougher than intended. "Elena." Marcus folded the papers slowly and tucked them back into his coat. "Elena, go inside and take care of your father." He turned toward his horse, then paused. "I'll tell the bank the property is worthless, not worth the cost of foreclosure. By the time they send someone else to verify, it won't matter." Her hand caught his sleeve, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Why?" He looked at her for a long moment, seeing in her face all the goodness he'd forgotten existed in the world. All the love and sacrifice he'd spent years ignoring. "Because someone should have done it for me once," he said quietly. "And because you just reminded me what it means to be human." As Marcus rode away, he didn't look back at the farmhouse or the girl standing on the porch with tears streaming down her face. But for the first time in years, the weight on his shoulders felt lighter, and the dust settling behind him seemed less like a curse and more like a benediction.